just my breeder rats. I really scale back my rat breeding this time of the year because the ball pythons go off food, and I don't really feed them and start feeding them again until the middle of July, June, or 1st of July. So this is my break, my downtime.
Okay. Now,
The start of my downtime.
Now, and that's something you do, like that's something you do in your cycling, like you purposely don't feed them, right?
Yeah. Yep. Everything's on a cycle.
All right, let's talk about your cycling real quick, if you don't mind. Let's just say the beginning. Let's start from the beginning of the breeding year, right? Well, because let's start from when you bring them up on food, right? So you bring them up on food about when, what day is when, or excuse me, about what time of the year is when the food goes back to what it normally is.
So we're talking about all the females that lay that I'm keeping and breeding the next year,
right?
And most of the ones that are going to breed the following year, they don't get fed very much either from like April until that same time. So at that point in time, all of that stuff that I'm looking to try to breed the next year, I start feeding it about mid-June, 1st of July, and it's once a week.
Okay.
And as it gets hot, we get hot here in the summer. I mean, it'll get 90, 95 outside. I love when it does that. I just open all the windows and it's, we get rain, humidity.
Right.
And I mean, I feed them every week, huge meals. A lot of people, I'm not saying I'm right. Everybody has their thing, but I feed jumbo rats.
Damn. Let's talk about it, bro. There's a lot of people who are like, no, that's that you're gonna fuck up.
Well, these are okay. The ones I feed jumbo rats to, these are monster females.
Right,
they're like 10-year-old girls that I'm still, 10 plus. But yeah, I do feed big meals, and that time of the year, and the way my cycle works is, I mean, they just absorb it. Like, I mean, they're looking for more. You know,
Yep.
I don't give them more. A lot of them eat, ones that are a little bit smaller eat larges, and and I one of the things I do that I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about is how many meals do those females eat each year? So I know exactly how many rats. If this female eats this many rats, she's going to lay. If not, she's not going to lay. So good idea to record all your meals, and you'll start noticing trends. And there's patterns. So I do a lot of it that way. I have a real tight window of breeding. I usually start about the 1st of November, and I'm done by Tinley Park by the middle of March.
Damn.
And then because what I've been able to do with that is keep a tight window of hatching too. Like last year was the tightest window of breeding and the tightest window of laying. This past season, I did start breeding a little bit early because everybody's on lockdown and a little antsy to get started, and no Tinley Park.
Yeah.
So I actually started breeding a little bit earlier this year, and I'm winding down now. I probably used my males a little bit more this year than I have in the past, and just kind of kept busy because there was nothing else to do.
Right. Now, with that being said, you said April through June, first week of July is when you're not offering any food, right?
Right. Yep.
Now, here's what I went through last year. I was kind of
you know why I do that? Because for years I would go through and offer everything food, and one would eat. So it's like over time, fuck that, man. Why even offer them?
Yeah.
Why even raise the rats?
Right.
So I bring my rat production down to nothing right now. And like probably by the end of the month, I'll start holding stuff back for that middle of July, June, 1st of July feeding, you know.
Let me I kind of want to walk you through what, you know, a little bit of a curve I went through last year with my breeding, my ball pythons breeding. Now, I had a good handful, not a good handful, I would say like I had like 4 females that bred for me in 2019, gave me bomb.
Oh,
A few moments later.
What the that just happened? You there?
yeah. Okay, I was trying to.
Where did you hear me say? What was the last thing you heard me say?
You tried to breed 4 females, or you bred 4 females last year, 2019, that laid.
Right. So
Okay.
I had 4 females that laid 2019, really bomb clutches, and then 2020, you know, they had locks. They were eating great. They even turned off food, like they even went off food, right? But nothing happened. Like nothing happened. Like, you know, I'm talking about like, you know, months went on, nothing, no ovulation, nothing happened. And then around July, they started eating again. They just started eating again. And I'm like, fuck, you know, go figure, you know. But at what point right then and there, since they didn't lay for you that year, what point should you, like, for one thing, what do you think it was that why they didn't lay? What do you have anything off the top of your mind that would
Were these adults that you got?
Yeah, this is their second year breeding. So their 2019 was their first year, and then 2020 was their second year.
Were they ones you raised up?
Yes.
How old are they? 3?
Going like 4.
In 2019?
No, 2019 there are 3.
And that's when you tried to breed them and they didn't go.
No, they went in 2019.
Okay. The next year they wouldn't go.
Next year, 2020, is when nothing happened. They went, you know, they got locked, went off food, and then just nothing happened.
They might not have got enough food prior to their breeding. Or another thing is, if they bred and they swelled up, I don't know if you remember that, they kind of look like they were getting bigger.
Right.
They don't ovulate, but they'll resorb those. They grow follicles, but sometimes they'll resorb them.
Okay.
Like I'm at a point right now where, I mean, it's looking like, you know, and it's funny because I talk to other people, but you know, it looks like all my females are going to go right now. You know, they're like all swelled up, but you know, some of them are going to resorb.
Okay.
So it's like,
it's just a number game.
Yeah. And what, you know, one of the reasons why I stopped breeding so early is because I think, you know, that's going to happen. I don't know why they do it. I spend a lot of time trying to figure that out. This time of the year I'm down there. I used to ultrasound a lot. I haven't used that in some years. I spent my life is in the looking at snakes with a temp gun. I'm looking at what they're trying to do. I'm trying to figure out. You know, I use shredded aspen for my bedding, and I set my tubs up a little different. They make like these little tunnels. I can see where they're laying, where they're moving. So I can't figure out what makes them resorb their follicles. I know that if I keep breeding these like beyond this time, some of them will like kind of maintain that follicular size, will kind of stall into the summer, and then they'll, you know, a few of them might go, but they usually don't, and then they got to resorb all those follicles. When they resorb those big follicles, what happens? You know, they have to digest that and process that, and it's really hard on the kidneys and liver. And I think it throws them off for the next year. So I don't breed into the summer. You know, so a lot of people are doing the year-round thing, but I don't. That idea doesn't really work for me. So I just do, you know, try to do it the easiest way I can. I don't want to be breeding all year anyway.
Right.
So,
right. It's easier to keep you on track of what females that are either ready to go or just aren't going to go versus like fucking, you know, goddamn.
What's difficult now like it used to be easy. I used to breed females one time, proven females, like, once they're 8, 9, 10 years old, I mean, they go. I mean, I literally, 50 of them, I'd breed one time and they'd have 10, 12 eggs. What's tricky now is that, we're not keeping these adults that long. We're turning them over because we got new stuff or whatever.
Right.
We're putting a focus on the young stuff, and the young stuff is way more unpredictable. They 3-year-old snakes don't, not that they're not all going to go.
Right. No, yeah, it's true.
3-year-old females, 4-year-old females don't all go for me. So they seem to be in their good production years at, 6, 8 years old, 10 years old.
So let me ask you this, because, one thing in the chondro game and, even the emeralds and whatnot that I'm heavy in is, it's maturity is your fucking best bet. Like a mature ass snake is your best bet. Right. And I'm thinking that's probably your best bet also with ball python.